So, honoured guests, Your Excellencies, it's now my great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Nodni Achi, who is the president of the Anglo-Arab Organization, which was founded in 2002. Born in Iraq, he became a British citizen in 1989, where, after establishing a number of enterprises and companies, his business acumen and hard work were rewarded, and he now heads what can only be described as a global empire. Despite his position today, he still has his roots grounded in the Arab world, and his humanitarian support for his fellow man is also very well known across the world. So it is no surprise that he should emerge as the first to step forward and support MP George Galloway's convoy to Gaza, Viva Palestina, which will see the largest convoy pass through North Africa. Wouldn't that be fun, North America? But it'll be the largest convoy to go through North Africa since the Second World War. So please, can I ask you to give a very warm welcome to the President of the Anglo-Arab Organization.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as President of the Anglo-Arab Organization, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, the trustees, all the members of the Anglo-Arab Organization, I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening to remember Gaza and the situation of the Israeli attack, which killed more than 1,400 innocent people. Most of them are women and children, and thousands more injured. To remember and memory of those who were killed, may I request you to stand for 1 minute silent, please. Thank you. I would like to thank you again for being with us tonight to participate in donating an excellent cause, a voyage managed and arranged by our friend George Galloway to go all the way from London to Gaza, which will take almost 1 month. Obviously, no need to introduce George Galloway. You all know who he is. He is always the first to back any good causes. He is a defender of Palestine and the Arab rights. 10 years ago, he went from London to Baghdad in London bus in order to highlight the situation, the bad situation of millions of Iraqis, which were under the embargo imposed on them by the United Nations. So now he's trying to bring relief to 1.5 million Palestinians in Gaza, embargoed and attacked by the Israelis. I wish him, with all of you with me, a safe trip and successful one. May I welcome Sir George Galloway to be here and give us a few words. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Auchi, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, wassalamu alaikum, peace be on all of you. Actually, I'm not the first. Nodni Achi is the first. The idea of this convoy, although he doesn't know it, came from him, not from me. The anguished text which he was sending me from December 27th, almost every day, I suspect he was sending them to more than me, but I received them, talking, and I could tell from his texts, in a broken-hearted way, about the suffering that we were watching, although we were watching only the half of it if we were watching only the British media, inspired me to announce on the 10th of January that I would lead a convoy from London, Westminster, Big Ben, to Gaza. And so we shall, God willing, a week on Saturday, lead that convoy. I can tell you now, and you're the first to know it, that the convoy is now more than 100 vehicles long. This means a convoy almost 1 mile long. And it will be, as my sister Yvonne said, the biggest British convoy to cross North Africa since the Second World War, General Montgomery and the Desert Rats, in another noble cause, the defeat of Nazism in North Africa. It will be led by fire engines, followed by a dozen ambulances and 10 scores of trucks, some of them gigantic, juggernaut trucks. It was my ambition to have 100 vehicles. We now have 105, and there's still 10 days to go. So one of the things that I'm hoping that you will do here is decide that you too will send a truck. I see my dear friend, my brother Aga here. He's in the transport business. If you want to charter a truck, he'll be able to find you one, I'm sure. These fire engines are to put out the fires in Gaza, which, as you saw from Ban Ki-moon's interview, they were still burning when the Secretary General of the United Nations was visiting his own installations. These ambulances are to bring some relief to the hard-pressed hospitals in Gaza, which have been through the most nightmarish period it's possible to imagine. Doctors and nurses and technicians struggling without appropriate electricity and water supplies, short of medical supplies, and dealing with casualties coming in almost by the minute. These trucks are full of the things that the Palestinian refugees in Gaza need. 61,000 houses were destroyed in the aggression in 22 days. That's 61,000 families without a roof over their heads. MashaAllah, they have big families. This is 5 times, 6 times 61,000. In the bitter winter, are living in the rubble, in the ruins of their own homes. As you saw some pictures there, people sitting literally atop the rubble of their own homes. They are shivering, they are in rags, only with the clothes that they stand up in. They are hungry and they are without proper medical attention. This is a humanitarian catastrophe. The worse because it's concentrated in such a small space. On which subject I should like to make this point. This is the first war in history where the population had no means to flee from the fighting. The bombs they knew were coming, but they could not escape them because the people who were to murder them took the precaution of locking all the doors to make sure that they could not escape from their bombardment, including, as we saw on that film, the use of weapons which are, in the context that they were used, absolutely illegal and constituting a war crime. As it happens, I was one of the first to see the effect of white phosphorus used by Israel against the people of Lebanon and Palestine in Beirut in 1982. I was there during the Israeli invasion. I went to the hospitals. I saw the children breathing white smoke because the phosphorus was baking their bodies from the inside. There's no question of this being a crime, and there's no question that it was a crime committed against the United Nations itself, because we have film of United Nations buildings under attack by white phosphorus. You can't get a more clear-cut case for a war crime than that. But will a war crime be prosecuted? Ban Ki-moon used the word there, this is completely unacceptable, but the problem is, he will accept it. Israel is committing crimes which any other country in the world would be punished for, but Israel is instead rewarded for those crimes. Just this day, the Anglo-Arab Organization's project, in which they have an interest, gave financial support of an aid ship from Lebanon, checked by the Lebanese government, checked by the Cypriot government, has been seized on the high seas in international waters in an act of piracy by the Israeli Navy, which reminded me of the blessed St. Augustine in his book City of God, in which he describes an encounter between Alexander the Great and a pirate. Ordering the pirate to halt, Alexander says, "How dare you terrorize these waters as a thief?" And the pirate answers to the great Alexander, "How dare you terrorize the whole world? You with your great navy can call yourself an emperor and can call other men as you please." This, they talk about Somali pirates. This is an act of piracy in international waters by Israel. There's a British citizen on board. I've written today to David Miliband asking what's he going to do about it. Also on board the ship is an 88-year-old Roman Catholic bishop whose address is the Holy See in the Vatican in Rome. He came from the Holy See and fell victim to an act of piracy in international waters. Will Israel pay a price for this? Not yet. But we are determined to make good the advantage that I believe we now have in international opinion, that Israel is seen as a criminal terrorist state by more people today than it ever has been. And we have to drive that home while it's still fresh in people's minds and before the Israeli propagandists that we saw in that film with their South African accents and their American accents and their polished words and their fancy suits are able to persuade people all over again that the victims of terrorism are in fact the terrorists and that the terrorists are in fact the victims. That's why our convoy is not going the quick way through Europe. Our convoy is going the long way. 16 days it will take us to get there, and then the time back again. It's going through France, where major rallies will take place, in Madrid, where a huge welcome is awaiting us, arriving in Morocco, where in Casablanca, I'm sure, a gigantic rally will be waiting for us. And we will proceed, God willing, and borders opening, through Algeria, which knows a thing or two about the cost of resisting foreign occupation and injustice and tyranny, the land of 1 million martyrs, maybe 2. We will pass through Tunisia, through Libya, and into Egypt. If anyone has any influence here with the Egyptian government, I would be very grateful if you would use it and would convey this message. We are not bringing on our convoy any harm to Egypt, or even its government or its president. I will not say one word against the Egyptian government if they allow this convoy into their country. I'm ready to take a self-denying vow of silence in Egypt. We will not say a word against Egypt. All we ask, with respect to His Excellency President Hosni Mubarak, is that he allows our convoy to enter Egypt and cross the border at Rafah. We are a British convoy. We will be flying British flags. We will request and require the support of the British Foreign Secretary and our diplomats along the route. And as you know, it says in the British passport that everyone in the world is required to make way for the British. So if anyone has any influence with the Egyptian government, please bring it to bear, because it would be bad for everybody if more than 100 British vehicles are stuck at Rafah and are not allowed to cross to deliver the relief which is desperately needed in Palestine. I set out with the target of 100 vehicles and a target of £1 million worth of vehicles, contents, and cash money. We have reached the 100 vehicles, but we have not yet reached the 1 million in value. And this is why I'm hoping that this wonderful dinner this evening, organized by Madame Auchi, by Maha and her colleagues in the Anglo-Arab organization, can raise a significant sum of money to take us towards this 1 million. A £1 million, 1 mile convoy will be something to see. It will be something to celebrate, and will be something to know that you played a part in helping. So that you can tell your children and grandchildren when they ask you, what did you do, Daddy, when all of this was happening? You can say that you did everything that you could to bring some relief to the hungry, cold, and homeless people in Gaza. On that subject, there are auctions, there are donations. If you forgot your checkbook this evening, you can go to vivapalestina.org and see how you can donate. You see, Mr. Auchi was the first to do that too, as he's always the first. And all money is important in a huge enterprise like this, but the first money is the most important. Because we were able to get this whole juggernaut moving because Mr. Auchi, on the very first day, promised the assistance that he did, and he delivered, as he always does. And I hope his guests this evening can do their best to continue that tradition of the Anglo-Arab organization, which has done so much wonderful work and raised so much money for so many different Arab causes, humanitarian causes. I leave you just with this image. It's a heartbreaking one, but all of us are parents and grandparents here today. Just think about Zaytuna on day 16 of this aggression. Zaytuna is a little area on the edge of Gaza City, which I know well, which is why it stuck so badly in my mind. For 4 days and nights, the Israelis refused to allow the Red Cross, the International Committee of the Red Cross, to enter the ruins of Zaytuna to try to find someone alive they could help, but at least to recover the dead. Some of you will have seen the little girl burned to a crisp on that film. You may have seen the extended piece of film. If you didn't, let me tell you, that little girl was aged 3, and she lay dead in the ruins for 4 days and 4 nights, and she was eaten by dogs. That's why they covered her body up on that piece of film. She was eaten by dogs because the Red Cross were threatened with death by Israel if they tried to recover her body. She was Hamas, you see. She was a dangerous terrorist. A Taliban, as Olmert so grotesquely misdescribed her. But something else happened in Zaytuna, in those ruins, which for me is even more horrific. when the Red Cross reached the rubble, they found 2 dead children, starved to death, still suckling on the toes of their dead mothers, on the toes of their dead mothers. Toddlers, sucking the toes of their dead mothers before they themselves perished from hunger and exposure. This great crime demands a great response. If our governments will not, then the people must. It's our duty, wajib, to do everything that we can. I'm going to be sleeping in the back of a jeep for 16 days. More than 200 of us will be doing the same, sleeping in the back of vehicles, waking at 6 and driving at 7. We'll be pretty smelly by the time we reach Gaza because there will not be any hotels, there will not be any showers. We'll be lucky if we can wash our faces. We're doing it both because we want to deliver this aid, but also because we want to demonstrate our determination to bring this barbarism to an end. I'm not asking anybody here to sleep in the back of a jeep. Just help us pay for the petrol. Just help us pay for the food that will get us there. And most importantly, just help us bring some relief to the people in Palestine. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you very much indeed.